Has this ever happened to you? You're taking a nice long walk on the beach, just contemplating life, when suddenly you start thinking about how painfully single you are? Well, it's probably because you're in e-school studying how to squish soil better. But boy, do we have a solution for you. Introducing a cheap way to find your life partner, sandcastling. Sand is great for mixing asphalt, construction fill, water filtration, and a plethora of things, like concrete blocks. But the best part of sand is not what it's good for, it's what it's good for getting, a partner. Sand is on the finer side of coarse-grained soils, so it ranges from about 0.075 millimeters to 4.75 millimeters. So it's easily identifiable, since it does not pass the number 200 sieve from the sieve analysis test. Some kinds of sand can be found at the beach and has been smoothed over time from traveling distances before settling on the ocean floor. Other sand can be found along banks or rivers or lakes, which tends to have a rougher texture since it hasn't moved as far. Sand is coarse-grained with a high surface area, so when it's mixed with water, you can build a sandcastle that'll rock your world.
Finding the best sand is like finding the love of your life. It takes a long time, and you'll be tested along the way. A great way to do that is by conducting the standard Proctor test. These characteristics help to find the proper compaction of the backfill soil, reduce settlement, and ensure integrity of the sandcastle. The standard Proctor test is an ASTM compaction test that utilizes mold within a volume of 0.0333 cubic feet and a 5.50 pound hammer being dropped from about 12 inches. The hammer is dropped freely 25 times per lift into the mold to achieve the correct compactive effort. A total of 3 lifts are required for 1 point, and this test is commonly used to determine the optimum water content and dry density of a soil.
The optimum water content is the point at which you achieve the maximum dry unit weight from a compactive effort. This is important because the closer you get to finding the optimum water content, the sturdier your sandcastle will be. And if your sandcastle is sturdy, then so are your chances for finding that special someone. Before conducting the standard Proctor test, pre-tests are needed to determine the so-called coarse to finer fraction, which will tell us whether or not the standard or the modified Proctor test will be needed. After conducting this, the samples are placed through sieves, weighed, and dried to determine if the soil is clay, sand, or whatnot. The specific test was used because it would clearly and effectively help determine the characteristics of the soil that we're looking for to build the best sandcastle. Now that we know all about sand, there's one more quality we need to build our perfect sandcastle. Science says that the perfect sandcastle requires a 99 parts sand and 1 part water, and some suction. Water particles within the sand-water mixture act as a bridge between particles to hold it together nice and snug. If you don't add enough water, the bridges get stretched too thin and the structure will collapse. So you think, maybe we should add some water. But if you add too much water, the bridges get too overwhelmed and they cry, making a soupy texture. But when we remember science, the perfect mixture of 99 ratio to 1 builds the perfect sandcastle that will help find you love.
Some sand in this house. Sand in this house. There's some sand in this house. I said can't give us no critiques. That perfect sand peak. Wet and plastic. Make that crumble game weak. Woo. Yeah. 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 Yeah, you building with some wet and plastic. Bring a bucket and some sand. That's some wet and plastic. Give me everything you got. Put some wet and plastic. Build it up, no sand discharge. Extra large and extra hard. Put the sand right in his face. Swipe that shovel like a credit card.